It's been 69 years since the founding of the People's Republic of China, and now we're just minutes away from a flag-raising ceremony in Beijing to celebrate that anniversary. To help describe the event, here with me now is Sourabh Gupta. He's a senior fellow at the Institute for China-American Studies. Sourabh, thank you for joining us. 69 years, a lot to celebrate.
Oh, absolutely a lot to celebrate, especially given the traumatic circumstances in which China was liberated and the number of people who died in that, both civilian deaths as well as military. I mean, they fought themselves also, and of course it was part of the war against fascism. So I mean, there's a lot to celebrate. And since in the last 30 years, tremendous economic growth, which has raised so many people out of poverty. So yes, a lot to celebrate.
And we're getting live pictures now. You can see the crowds there in Tian'anmen Square. Yesterday, on Sunday, the leaders were there as well amongst the people. How significant is that for them to be there? And we can just see some of the military coming out in this procession. How significant is it for the people to be amongst their leaders?
Oh, absolutely. It's important to have the leaders up front, and it's important for the people also to be out there. At the end of the day, the leaders derive their power from their people, and so it's important that the people and the leaders are involved on such an important day and link up together.
We're seeing them now coming down the what's called the Golden Water Bridge. It's there on the north side of Chang'an, the Eternal Peace Street, as it translates. Many people are familiar, of course, with Tian'anmen Square on the south side of that street, and also the buildings that we see there. And just beyond that, north of that, of course, is the Forbidden City. This is a new type of ceremony. It was changed on January 1st. 8 trumpeters will play on the Tian'anmen building's rostrum, and then guards will be on the, as we see now, descending now from that bridge. As somebody who studies China, you'll know quite well that I think it's quite interesting how Chinese people see their destiny as a collective destiny. They share it with the state, which is often very different than how people in the West see their relation with the state. What do you make of the fact that so many people from across China really turn out to take part in this sort of celebration?
Part of the reason I feel they also take part in the celebration is because China went through traumatic circumstances. It was not an easy way to, it was not easy for to win the war against fascism and to be liberated in the way they were. And China has this profound history and this profound civilization of strength and benevolence, etc. But it was during that last 100 years, it really had to look inside it as to why it was such a failure. And now that they have managed to get their act together, it binds themselves that they must never have to go through that sort of circumstance again. And that's why they place faith in their leadership. And so long as the leadership is shown to be able to provide the goods for them, they're happy to continue the way they are.
And just to let viewers know what they're watching, you see 96 guards there wearing the uniforms of the Army, Navy, and Air Force crossing south, crossing Chang'an towards Tian'anmen Square. When they get there, one representative from each of those units will join to raise the flag. The one in the Army's uniform will be the one that actually throws the flag, while the other two watch holding their rifles. And of course, this is all happening as the world is really watching China. As you go to international forums and Xi Jinping speaks and world leaders are watching, I'm not sure anybody in 1949 would have thought that China 2018 would really be this global powerhouse.
Oh, absolutely. And perhaps even as late as the 1970s, people would not have expected China is where it is today. China today is almost a $13 trillion economy. On purchasing power parity comparisons, it is the world's largest economy. So China has come a great distance, but this is also a moment of inflection right now. The international system which had enabled its rise is now itself going through a period of reflection and disruption. And so it's a difficult time for the Chinese themselves to navigate. So it comes at a difficult moment. But I think it's important to stay united and to have a larger purpose and a larger goal ahead.
We'll pause in a second. We're expecting the flag-raising ceremony to happen. 46 seconds during which the national anthem will be played. It's called March of the Volunteers. We can see doves being released, a universal symbol of peace. And the music you're now hearing is called Ode to the Motherland, or often translated as Singing to the Motherland. And we did see lots of people there singing along to the national anthem. Of course, China knows that the world is watching, a country that has really opened up in recent years, and it's doing now what it does best. The People's Liberation Army taking over this ceremony as of January 1st. A ritual full of pomp and circumstance. What does it mean for China, do you think, to get this right?
Oh, to get this right, where they are today has been a difficult journey. The fact that they have been so successful off late is something they are proud about. And this is a moment of symbolism to just show and reflect, to show their pride, to show how united they are, and at the same time to reflect both on how far they've come and the distance they still have to go.
And China's diaspora community has really grown over years, and there has been celebrations to mark China's National Day both here in the US and in places like South America and Peru. What do you make about the fact that China really now has this very global reach, and how might that change the dynamics of China's role in the world?
How it will change the dynamics of China's role in the world is that it will have a window into understanding other people's cultures. At the end of the day, China needs to work collaboratively from people all across the world, and its diaspora can be China's ambassadors in all these countries and continents of the world. And perhaps if it listens more to its own diaspora, it will be able to engage these countries in the way they wish to be engaged, especially at a time when it's going out in such a big way with so many capital-intensive projects. So I think it's an asset, of course, for the Chinese nation.
And we hear the music playing there, Gechang Zu Guo, Ode to the Motherland, as those 96 soldiers return back north to the Tian'anmen building there. You can hear the accompaniment by the military orchestra, and this was taken over by the PLA from a police guard. That was done as of January 1st, changing the structure of the ceremony. 69 years anniversary of the People's Republic of China. What sort of challenges, Sourabh, do you think China will face in its 69th year as it approaches quite a significant milestone, 70 years?
Oh, absolutely, a lot of challenges. Let me break them down into three baskets. One is at the international level, we are having this inward turn from, in a lot of countries. China has benefited from the open system, open multilateral system, economically and politically, and it would like to have that system consolidated, and so it must take its share of the leadership and responsibility to consolidate that. Secondly, US-China relations have served China very beneficially in the economic area, but that relationship is at an inflection point. And of course, one shouldn't put up with blackmail, but one wants to right that relationship so that that relationship for the next 25 years can be a very productive one. Finally, on the domestic front, China's population is becoming increasingly sophisticated. This is a $10,000 per capita GDP, $10,000 GDP per capita economy. We have seen in places like Korea and in the Republic of China that at that level of income, they demand certain civic rights, and they desire their leaders to be respectful of those rights. The Communist Party will have to find ways in which it can engage its own society so that it can be increasingly in tune with that increasingly sophisticated citizenry that it has. These are not easy challenges, and these are challenges it will face this year and for this next decade.
And we've seen Xi Jinping, perhaps more than other leaders before him, try to be an engaging leader, even on the ground level with the Chinese people. Sourabh Gupta, thank you so much for joining us and providing your input.